Today I am going to tell you about a good science fiction movie about teenagers who learn to be superheroes. Meet the movie Sky High. Hello everyone, Dr. Fox is with you, so let's go. Will is a good guy, and his parents are not like everyone else. They are superheroes. Steve is a formidable commander who breaks everything in his path. And Josie, his wife, helps him with everything. The parents hope that one day Will join them in their powerful team. Today is the guy's first day at superhero school. Before classes started, Will's father got a call from the mayor. He has to save the world. The man said he could not take him to school and asked him not to worry. After Dad left, Will met with a childhood friend. Her name is Layla. They watched the news on TV. The guy's parents were destroying a giant robot that had been bothering everyone for a long time. After the battle, the commander took his head as a souvenir. After that, Layla and Will boarded the school bus. The driver said he admired the guy's father. This confused Will, because he is modest and does not want too much attention. The bus tore off the bridge and made the students scream, but then it turned into a plane. And he flew to the school, which was soaring high in the sky. The location of the school is a secret. This is done so that the villains will not be able to find it. The freshmen saw different students in front of them. Someone could fly, someone had laser vision, and someone even knew how to freeze people. The cheerleaders greeted the guys, and then turned into one person. However, not everyone is friendly, as in any school, there are jerks here. Two scoundrels approached the freshmen and started demanding tuition fees. Fortunately, the president of the Gwen school arrived at the children in time and chased them away. Will fell in love with her immediately. Classes have started. Students must take strength tests to understand who they will be, superheroes or helper heroes. Each participant came on stage and demonstrated their superpowers. Only Will said he did not have any power. The teacher did not believe him and dumped the car on him. She almost pinned the guy to the ground. And then he decided to check if he could fly, but it turned out that he could not. Will was directed to the nurse's office. She said that there are people who have never had superpowers. For example, like the guy who works as a school bus driver. After school, Will tried to tell his father that he had no superpowers, but he took him to a special shelter. He showed him the lab, where there were souvenirs that Steve got in battles with villains. It touched the guy so much that he still did not dare admit it. Meanwhile, the helmet became active. Two secret people were watching Will and his father through him. The next day, the students were taught how to become superhero friends. One student wanted to choose a name for himself, but it turned out that it was impossible. Only a superhero can give an assistant a nickname or a costume that he will wear. The school teacher was once Will's father's assistant. It upset him that Steve did not even talk about it. The students learned how to use various devices. All this is in order to make life easier for superheroes. In the evening, the guys gathered at Will's house and did their homework. Steve came into the room and asked, "What superpowers do you have?" But the guys replied that we were just assistants. The man said there was nothing wrong with that. And Will, by the way, confessed too. He told Beta that he was also signed up as an assistant. This angered the man. He began to spread the bread nervously. And then he took the phone and tried to call the teacher who conducted this test, but evil Steve broke all the phones. Finally, it dawned on his father that the guy simply did not have superpowers. He told him, "Do not worry, it is okay. Being a friend is also an important task." But actually Steve is disappointed. Together with his wife, he discussed this problem. They came to the conclusion that abilities are not the main thing. The main thing is family. He may not have any superpowers, but he's still a son, and they love him very much. The next day, the hooligans beat up the driver. The guy stretched out his long arms and knocked the man's cap off. Their outrages did not end there. During lunch, Will pulled his leg, and the guy dropped the food on Warren. Perham's parents were villains, and Will's father had once imprisoned them. Warren went berserk and lit his hands on fire, and then started throwing fireballs at Will. The guy somehow defended himself with a tray, but it did not help. The friends tried to save Will, and Warren set his hands on fire again. He wanted to punch them in the face, but Will picked up the table where Warren was, and then his superpower manifested. The guy had incredible strength. He easily defeated the villain. The guys were called to the director's office, where they were scolded. When Will returned home, his parents also started blaming him. But then the father took the guy to the basement. Then he hugged his son and said, "Damn it, man, you finally have a superpower." In honor of such an event, they bought him a game console. Will could not study in the buddy class, so he was transferred to the superhero class. The guy sat down next to Gwen. She helped him collect some trinkets. The teacher noticed them, and because of this he began to resent and freeze them. Meanwhile, the townspeople game has begun, real tests for specialists, where they undergo rescue simulations. Will was placed with Raven, and the bullies tried to stop them. The guy is not shy, he can even hit on the head. He tied the deep to a pole, and Will took first place in this challenge. In the whole history, Will became the first person to break all records. Before that, his father was the champion, and Will even broke his record. Back at home, Gwen visited the guy. She was going to help him with his lessons, and Layla was sitting alone in a cave. Will promised to meet her, but forgot about it. Because of this, in fact, the girl began to have an affair with Farron. He worked there, and it turned out that he was a good guy. After school, Will walked Gwen home, and Gwen was so happy that he jumped on a lamppost and broke it. Meanwhile, the villains were watching Will's father's laboratory. They want to steal the emitter and then destroy the entire superhero school. Will met with Layla and said he was going to the prom with Gwen. The girl replied that she would take Warren with her. Of course, he did not like it, but he could not talk her out of it. In fact, Layla is in love with Will. She spends time with Farron on purpose so that he is jealous of her. Gwen offered to throw a party. She said she would invite friends. In fact, the whole school was there, and the house was a mess. When Layla arrived, Gwen came up to her and told her to get out. Will could not stand such insolence and said, "Madam, what are you doing?" And they parted. Then the parents interrupted the party, returned home, yelled at the students, and everyone left as best they could. Then Will went to the cave where Farron worked. They talked, and Joel said that Layla was only with him to make Will jealous of him. He said that the girl loves Will, and it is time to notice it already. In his father's hidyat, Will studied an old school yearbook. There he saw Gwenna, as well as the plasma emitter that was the weapon of the supervillains. Looking at the stand, he realized that he had done something stupid. During the party, Gwenna stole a laser emitter. Now the whole school is in danger. At the school ball, Will's parents made an important speech, and then the villain in the armor shot Steve with a radiator. Then Mr. Muscle turned into a child. These weapons turned the children they hit into children. The students began to run away. Farron threw a fireball into the ventilation, and through it they crawled out into the school corridor. Will was waiting for them there. He said Gwen was wearing the villain's armor. Steve once killed her mother, and now the girl wants revenge. The guy broke through the wall and ran to save his parents. And Layla was attacked by cheerleaders. Usually a girl does not use her strength. But then she was forced. Layla possessed the magic of nature and summoned a thorny vine to catch these scoundrels. Meanwhile, Gwen turned all the teachers at the school into children. Will asked her to stop, but she just grinned. The girl put on her helmet and started fighting. The guy wanted to knock her out, but his friends distracted him. Gwen took advantage of the moment and hit him with an electric glove. He flew out of the window, but managed to survive. Bill has developed a new ability to fly. Now the guy can soar in the sky like his own mother. He flew out the window, and then neutralized Gwen. The school began to fall from the sky, and Will flew up to hold it. Otherwise, the school would have fallen to the ground and killed thousands of people. Somehow, the guy managed to prevent the disaster and return the school to the atmosphere. Then Professor McGammond reprogrammed the emitters, and they turned children into adults. The world was saved, but it was not the superheroes who did it. Will was helped by his teammates, and the guy's father presented them with an award that was intended for the best superheroes in school. No matter what kind of power you have, even superheroes sometimes need help and support. To believe in yourself. Friends, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, like dislikes, everything is as usual. Oh yes, you can like in the comments, so YouTube algorithms will show this video a little more. See you.